Good morning, Nick Bechtold here. So as I decided to get more into doing online training and providing coaching for people, which I've actually started to do a little bit more with, I decided it'd be a good idea to start shooting some videos to explain some of the basics and show you guys how to do some of the things that go into creating a nutrition plan, workout program, mobility, things like that. So with this first video here, what I'd like to do is show you guys how to track macronutrients, how to track calories, easy, accurate ways to do that, and why it's so important. So first off, why should you track your calories? I know some people kind of see this as just being overkill, being too much to handle, too much stress. But honestly, at the end of the day, if you don't know what you're putting in your body and you're just making it guesswork, it's really hard to follow that over the course of time and to make changes. Because if you hit a plateau, if you hit a wall, and you don't even know how much you're taking in, you don't know where you're at, then how do you break through that plateau? How do you see where the next progression needs to be made? And there's a lot of people out there that say you can just eat clean and see results. And while I do think that it's important to eat healthy, nutritious foods, I don't think you can just simply eat clean and lose the amount of weight that you want to lose or get into the shape that you want to be in. That being said, if you only stick to a clean eating program and you're not tracking your nutrients, it doesn't really give you the room to fit in some of the foods that you would like to eat. That's why tracking your macros actually allows you to do this, because if you know how many grams of proteins, carbs, fats you need throughout the day, you can actually work in some of those foods that you enjoy and still hit your numbers, still see progress, whether that's losing weight, gaining muscle, or just simply maintaining where you're at. So today's a Sunday. I'm actually not going to the gym. It's a day off from work. I'm just going to take some rest. So I'll take you guys through my meals and show you what I'm going to be doing. I'm still going to get a little activity in, but probably not as much. So I probably won't be having quite as many calories, quite as many carbs today. But it should be a good chance for me to kind of show you guys how I would go about doing this, and some easy tricks and things that you can do to just make tracking a little bit more easier and a little more effective, and show you that it's really not that difficult, and that once you get the hang of it, it really becomes pretty easy, and it will just become easier with time. So I should probably mention that on most days, especially on weekends, I do like to implement what's called intermittent fasting. And what intermittent fasting is, I can explain it more in a different video, but basically all it is just kind of consolidating your meals into a smaller window. So what I'll probably do is skip breakfast, just push my first meal back to about noon, or just basically skip breakfast, have lunch and dinner. And there's really I don't really see a whole lot of magic in this, but all it really does is allows me, especially on the weekends, to enjoy bigger meals while still hitting my calorie goals. And I just think that's important because on the weekends especially, you might have more social events going on, things like that. So that is what I'm doing. So right now, like I try to do on most days, especially on the weekends, get up, take a nice little walk. My first meal per se will probably be some coffee. And with fasting, that does help. That if you do have some hunger pains, kind of helps to blunt the hunger. I just love coffee. Personally, I don't necessarily get those hunger pangs in the morning anymore. Yeah, but thought that was worth mentioning. So when I do start tracking the calories, we'll start at lunch. All right, I'll see you guys then. Alright guys, so it's about 12:30. I'm about to go make my first meal. Some things you might need to help count your macros or start tracking your macros a little bit more accurately is a digital food scale. And when I show you the ingredients and stuff that I'm going to be putting in my first meal, I'll have the food scale there. So what that'll do is with each new little component I add to the meal, I'll zero the food scale, put the food on there, weigh it in grams or ounces depending on what type of food it is. Typically I'd weigh meat in ounces, things like avocado, cheese, other little add-ons like that I probably typically add in grams. So since today is a rest day, I'm going to be going a little bit lower in calories, a little bit lower in carbs. So what I'm going to do just to keep food volume high and keep myself full, I'm going to make a nice big salad with some leftover steak. Okay guys, so here I am, just have all the ingredients laid out, got the steak, or the lettuce and the spinach already in the bowl. Since I'm not tracking those calories, which I'll talk about a little bit later, got everything out. I really like this Bolthouse dressing. I already got the steak chopped up. So what I'll do first is turn the scale on. I'm going to put the bowl with the lettuce and spinach in there, zero it out, so that when I add the other ingredients in, we'll know how much of each that I put in there. So I'm going to go ahead and first add the steak in. And when you go to put this in the food database, you're going to want to make sure that you find cooked steak, since there is a significant difference between raw and cooked steak. So here's a steak there, 3.7. I'm going to round that up to 4 ounces just because it's probably still got a little bit more. Then I add the avocado in there, got 71 grams of that. Okay, so we're going to zero it out again before we add the next ingredient, which is the dressing. So for the dressing, you're going to want to see how many grams that you get. I think I get about 30 here. So when you go and look the food up, one serving size actually is 30 grams, so I can't believe I hit that right on the dot. But that just makes it a whole lot easier for me. Added in some cottage cheese, 112 grams, which turns out to be one serving of that as well. So alright guys, so then I just topped that off with a little cilantro, some spices, and a little sriracha because I like the spice. Since there aren't really that many calories in my salad, I'm going to have a little fruit.
I have no idea.
With,
that's just something they do.
Some yogurt on the side for a little extra protein. So here we are with the Greek yogurt. Weighing that out, adding cinnamon, adding protein powder. Then I cut up the apple and add that in. So here is meal one.
Alright guys, so after you've weighed everything out, and you can either write this down or just kind of remember what you had there, I would strongly suggest getting an app to track your macros, just keep everything a little bit easier to do. I typically use MyFitnessPal or MyMacros+. MyFitnessPal just has the largest food database, so it makes things a little bit easier. It does have a calorie calculator on here. Oh, go back. So goals, you can find what you want. You can calculate it through there. I calculate it using different programs just because I haven't found that it's really that accurate. I use it more for just logging the food. And today, since it is a little bit lower, I'm keeping my calorie goal a little bit lower, just 2,400. Keep in mind that I am a bigger guy, about 6 foot, 198 pounds, so that's fairly low for a guy my size. So as you can see here, what I did, I clicked on lunch. So if you add food, I would click on lunch here, and then I just went ahead and plugged in the foods. So I just searched the database and plugged in all the foods that I had in my salad and yogurt. And quick little tip here, if you're using meat of any kind that's already cooked, make sure that you put in cooked or put in raw, because there will be a good amount of difference. When the steak is cooked, it will lose some weight, so you got to make sure you factor that in. And obviously I know not all of this is completely accurate, but it does, as long as you're close enough, you still will see results, and as long as you're doing the same thing day in and day out, you'll be able to still make changes and still make progress. So after I add everything in, I can click right here and see my so far that I've hit 54 grams of protein, 44 grams of carbs, got a little bit of fiber, and I've hit about 20 grams of fat. So that meal should keep me nice and full for a little while until the next one. All right. Okay, so it's probably worth mentioning, since some of you guys in that last video or last part of the video saw that when I recorded my lunch, I didn't include the peas, I didn't include the spinach, the lettuce, and that is because I don't think anybody should track green veggies. I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. You know, a couple handfuls of spinach with the fiber and everything that's in there, it's really not going to make a huge difference. And honestly, you're not going to get fat by eating a lot of vegetables. The more green veggies you want to eat, I think that's just a great way to just get more nutritious foods in. So don't worry about tracking vegetables. Don't worry about tracking, you know, especially those low calorie vegetables. You know, if you're eating a lot of carrots, a lot of potatoes, things like that, yes, track that stuff. Green vegetables like lettuce, spinach, those sorts of things, onions, mushrooms, don't worry about that stuff. Alright, so I was still a little hungry after that last meal. I guess it wasn't quite enough for me. Maybe it's just because I'm a growing boy. But, so I'm going to have one of these little Kirkland protein bars. And the best part about, if you do have some packaged foods, the easiest way to track those, you can just look them up in the database. Everything's right there. You just add it to the meal and you're good to go. Time for meal number 2. I'm going to make one of my all-time easy, high protein, tasty egg whites and ketchup. I'm going to make it nice and easy for myself and just use the whole container. So as you can see, 25 calories, 10 servings, 250 calories. It's going to be about 50 grams of protein. Should definitely keep me full until dinner. Ooh. Spinach because health. Onion because yum. I'm going to kick it up a notch. Mix it all together. Ooh, it's getting there. And for the finishing touch, I'm going to go ahead and add it as a snack. Since I got them from Costco, they usually use the Kirkland brand. So let's see. For the liquid egg whites, change the serving size to 1 container. So we'll go ahead and add that. We'll go ahead and add the ketchup. And I figure I probably used about 2 tablespoons. So there we go, 470 calorie snack. No, that's including the protein bar from earlier. There it is. So I just finished my egg whites. About to have a little banana here, a little banana. And it got me thinking. I thought I'd share with you guys a story when I had a little run-in with a banana, a little life and death situation from a banana. You see, I pride myself on how fast I can actually take one of these bad boys down. You know, I can get it down in probably a couple seconds flat. But I was trying to do this one time. I was up in Missoula with my girlfriend for her graduation. We were at the hotel parking lot. She was taking stuff in the room, and I was outside standing by the car and thought, hey, a banana sounds great. I'd like to get myself a banana for a snack right now. So I go out back, and about in the back of the car, grab a banana to eat. And like I always do, I try to wolf it down. So I take a giant bite, another giant bite, and then starts to go down, and quickly I realize that that banana is not going down my throat. It's stuck. So it takes about 10 seconds. I'm fighting it. I'm trying to get the banana down, and it just won't go. And I'm honestly thinking to myself, this banana is going to kill me right now. So I look around, no one's there. So, you know, what do I decide to do? That banana's got to come back up. I just threw it up in the parking lot right there. And, you know, when my girlfriend came out, she was a little surprised, and I had to embarrassingly tell her a story about how I puked up a banana because it almost killed me. So, there you go, kids. Safety first. Eat your bananas slowly. If you don't know, now you know. Look at that nice caramel in there. You betcha. Alright, so for the last meal of the day, I'm going to go pick up some food because my brother and his wife and their cute little baby, my little niece Harper, are coming over to watch Game of Thrones, because who doesn't watch Game of Thrones, honestly? So I'm going to go pick up a little food, bring it back here, and eat that while we watch the show. And I think this is a really important thing to show you guys because, you know, sometimes you can't make your own meal. Sometimes you just want to go out and get something to eat. So what do you do when you go out and get a meal? What do you do if you can't always know exactly what is in the dish? And that's what I'm about ready to show you guys. Alright guys, we're here. Thought I'd bring you to the classiest little joint in town. Oh, you see it. You see it. Chipotle, baby. So, the beauty of Chipotle is that they have a great database online. So, what you can do is before you even go in, you can pick what you're going to get. I'm going to get a double steak bowl with beans, fajita veggies, some corn and cheese. Now obviously, you know, there is going to be a little bit of inaccuracy with the person that puts in whatever food that you get, but these estimates are usually pretty close, and if you stick with the same thing every time you go, it's going to be close enough. You know, unless you're a bodybuilder trying to get down to 3, 4, 5% body fat, it's really not going to matter that much in the outcome of things. So there we go. Let's go get it. Alright guys, here it is. Double steak, beans, cheese, lettuce, all the goodness. And the macros are already calculated. Alright guys, so after Chipotle, I still had some calories remaining, so I'll put those right up here. Basically all I did was I had an extra little snack that was an apple with some Greek yogurt and a little bit of peanut butter mixed in, and that basically made up the rest of my macros. I was a little bit short, but I'm not too worried about it. I feel like if I'm within plus or minus 100, that's a pretty good ballpark. So hopefully this video provided some good insight to show you that it's really not that difficult to track macros and calories and be, you know, in a pretty good ballpark, and then it just makes reaching your fitness goals that much easier. And you know, like most people, I typically eat the same meals. So, you know, it's not like you have to weigh those things every single day. Once you know what's in a certain meal, you can just kind of log the same thing, add a few little bits here and there when you change things up, and make things just that much easier from there on out. So if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, feel free to subscribe to my channel, and hopefully I can keep putting out useful content in the future.